I'm Brian Van. I am fresh back from a Road Racing World Middleweight bike shootout where I got to ride on the all-new Michelin Power RS tires. When I did the first video introducing the Michelin Power RS tires, that was a blend of literature Michelin had put out, as well as information I gathered when I called the folks from Michelin and spoke to them over the phone. I did tell you that if I had the opportunity to ride on the tires, I would absolutely update everyone. Well, that opportunity presented itself in the form of an invitation to a middleweight bike shootout with Road Racing World at Chuckwalla Valley Raceway, riding with the folks from Ridiculous Racing. There was a whole group of riders that included myself. The other ones were fast, and somehow I made it in there. We had Chris Ulrich, Ken Hill, Ed Sorbo, Papa Rick from Ridiculous Racing, and then, of course, myself. 3 different middleweight bikes. They were all shod with a brand new set of the Michelin Power RS tires that we rode on. Each bike received somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 laps during the test. And like I said, there are some fast guys in that group, so they really were put through their paces. When we did the first video, we talked about a lot of things. One of them was tire pressures. Remember, I gathered information from literature from Michelin. I called Michelin, got some more information. I shared that with you. They're really careful with their tire pressure recommendations. They always land on, well, you should use what your motorcycle manufacturer recommends. We all know that, especially in a track environment, that's not practical. Still, they don't want to release that. There's some liability that runs with that, okay? So the pressures that we chose to use. If you want to use them, you can do that too, and you'll probably enjoy similar performance to what we did. So, front tire, 33 PSI cold. Remember, middleweight bike. Rear tire, 25 PSI cold. Performance, warm-up. We didn't use any warmers. Warm-up happened very quickly, okay? Just a little scrubbing on the tires. I think we did 1 lap, kind of easy to scuff them in. And then from there, you were able to go out and ride at a good pace. Even on the out lap, the tires came up to temperature very quickly, and you were able to really put them through their paces after that. We'll start by talking about the front and how it felt. For me, that one is so important because that's your connection to the road through the handlebars, that front end grip, because you need that confidence. That's huge. The 33 PSI we found gave the best blend really of traction with braking stability and then cornering stability, so it's not squirming around. The front tire really inspires a lot of confidence. That's something that's super important to me. When I heel a bike over and I get it in a corner, I want to know that that front end's there with me. It was very predictable. It didn't do anything that I found surprising or out of the ordinary whatsoever. I believe that most people are going to agree with that assessment. I mean, that thing was really, it felt like it was on rails. And remember, we're riding stock middleweight bikes with stock suspension. The rear tire, excellent drive grip. The bikes all finished the corner nicely. Remember, they're middleweight bikes. Chris had previously ridden on these tires using a Kawasaki ZX-10, right? It was obviously a different set than what we used on the middleweight bikes, but it was the same tire. He suggested that on a bigger bike, a 600 or a 1000, it would be a good idea to use 35 PSI cold up front, because the bigger bikes, they're going to load that front up more under braking. The speeds are going to be higher than we have with the middleweight bikes, right, when you're coming up to that braking zone. And the cornering load will typically be higher, maybe the suspension a little bit stiffer as well. So the tire performed better by adding those 2 PSI cold. As far as the rear goes, just go ahead and stick with the 25 cold and evaluate from there. And you want to evaluate your wear. You know, is there any cold tearing? Is it spinning too much? And adjust from there. But that should be a really good baseline for you. And my guess would be that your results are going to be very similar to what we enjoyed. Let's talk about durability. With the group of riders I talked about, each bike received right around 60 laps or so, right? A good number of laps. And like I said, those guys are fast. These bikes were definitely being pushed for sure. Dragging mufflers, dragging heat shields, foot pegs on stock bikes. So they were put through their paces. The wear was great. The front tire looked phenomenal. The rear, the wear was excellent. Could easily go to that second day, perhaps even further. With your tires, you want to have a look at them at the end of the day and evaluate them and make a determination of whether or not you want to go into that next day with them or if you want to change the set. But from what I saw on the first day, not a problem. Take that into the second day with ease and probably have the opportunity to go well beyond that with the tires, which is nice because Michelin is billing this as, right, kind of street biased with the ability to take it to the racetrack. So you're going to expect good performance with good wear. It's fair. Otherwise, why not just spend the money, get the race rubber? It's not going to last as long, but you'll pick up a little more performance. So you're going to want that longevity with that tire. And what I see so far looks like you are going to get that. Now, back to it's 85% street allegedly and 15% track. Based on the limited amount of rain siping on that tire and the performance that we enjoyed on the racetrack, I don't know that I really agree with the 85-15 split. I feel like we've got a very capable track day tire. It's going to work great on the middleweights as well as the bigger bikes, okay? In terms of street riding, if you're out west and you're riding the canyons, got really good places to go and put the bike through its paces. There's some wonderful spots on the East Coast too to do that. I'm sure some other great roads throughout the country. If you have the ability to do that quite a bit and you require a good level of performance, yeah, it's going to be a great tire for you. For straight up and down riding, commuting, with maybe someday doing a corner here and there, I don't know that this would be my first choice for a tire. I think they've got other options within their Hypersport range. The Power, great tire. Power 2CT, great tire. A lot more rain siping if you get caught in the rain. So I'm going to give this, in my opinion, this is way more a track-focused tire than it would be a street tire. So I would almost want to flip-flop that, like say, man, I don't know, like maybe 85% track and 15% street. You could ride around a little bit on the street for sure, but its performance on the track was rock solid. Really enjoyed the tires. I think you will too. And remember, this is really important. Tires, experiencing a tire, it's a personal thing. We all have different bikes. We all have different riding styles, different expectations. The only way for you to truly understand how these tires are going to perform for you is to buy a set and put them on your bike. And that's really a cool part of the hobby. And that's something I've always enjoyed doing, is going from one tire to the next to experience and feel the difference. It's an opportunity to learn a lot, and it really adds quite a bit to your riding hobby and your experience. There you have it. That is our follow-up to the Michelin Power RS tire review.